Today on the Daniel Baldwin Show, viewer mail and who's going to jail? Coming at you right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daniel Baldwin Show. Let's get straight to it. Viewer mail. Caroline Stantz of Raleigh, North Carolina asks this. Hey DB, what's it like when you and your family all get together? People are very intrigued by asking me questions about what it's like with my family, and I guess because they're all actors, the boys. The girls didn't bother getting involved in the field, but they're pretty accomplished themselves. It depends on the holiday, really. If we're getting together for a charity function, we put our differences aside. That's been kind of the standard. And when it comes to the public, we don't usually comment very much about what's going on in somebody else's life. If there's some kind of controversy or whatever, I try to stay out of that. It's a lot healthier for my relationship with my brothers, for sure. I think as is normal, as you get older, you spend less time with your siblings, unless you live right near each other, and you spend more time with your actual kids and your wife and that kind of thing. So Deasia and I, we're in Texas right now, in Houston, Galveston, with our son, and the girls, Avis and Finley, are back in Atlanta. So, I don't see my brothers like I used to. And if you hear noise going on right now, it's because I'm in the lobby of the hotel trying to find a quiet place to do the show. So there's like loud people in the Starbucks over there every once in a while yelling. You'll see people walking behind me, occasionally workers, and it's kind of a let's get the show done day. So it can be controversial when we're together. If it's a family function and politics comes up, it's bad. It's definitely bad. But we've tried to keep it civil. We have waves of who's closer to who and which brother or sister or whatever it is. It's confusing for me to try to keep track of it because I wouldn't let any kind of political differences or religious differences or any kind of difference affect my love for a family member. I can't say that is 100% true of some of the family members in my family, but I just pray for them, and I hope they get to know God as I know God. That's what I pray for, I really do. So, but thanks for your question, and this brings me to a painfully important part of the show, and that is, wow, they're getting much louder. This guy's yelling over there. Should I go in there and tell him to shut up? Yeah, he's on a roll, telling everybody where he's going, what he's doing. This will make the show interesting. Maybe I'll have people come over and I'll have someone come in and pop their head in and be a guest star because they're so fucking loud in the Starbucks. Anyway, the key thing about this show that I wanted to talk about, because I've done a lot more research about will certain members of Congress, will there be certain politicians, and I exempt presidents because I just don't see the reality. A president would have to kill somebody, really, to go to jail. I don't see it. But I did look at, Elizabeth Warren, Pelosi, Schumer, Schiff, some of the more vocal opponents of the president and this administration. And I started taking a look at how much money they've made with a salary of, under $200,000 for being members of Congress. And the fact of the matter is, Obama, when he came into office, passed a law saying that they can share information, that it is okay for essentially insider trading, that they're allowed to do it. So there alone tells me that we're probably not going to see Pelosi go to prison, or her husband, or anyone else, because they made it legal. Obama, he made it legal for them to do it, which I did not know, actually. So I found that very interesting that he decided to be the one that changed that, but he's made a lot of money himself. But what I said before in other shows was that a president will probably not go, even for something they did that was illegal. And so I'll bring up a good example of it. is the Russia hoax. Hillary was involved with it. President Obama had left office and continued it. And there's an interesting part of this. He left office and is being accused of wrongdoings, which would mean he's no longer protected under the guise of being president and acting as president or whatever he could hide behind, or any president could hide behind. Now it's things that he's being accused of after he left office. So technically, Barack Obama could be held accountable for some of the things they're saying he did, that they say they have proof that he did. I will be willing to bet whatever you want that Barack Obama is never going to see the inside of a jail cell due to some fraud that he committed against Donald Trump. I just don't see it. Another interesting thing that came up was Pelosi's role in January 6th, and that there's a lot more documentation that said that before January 6th, she asked for a limited number of security guards to be involved, the Capitol Police, that she had certain entrances and exits left open, that she obstructed a couple of different things, orders from her office, which would mean that they were at least okayed by her or that they were directly from her. If that can be proven, would you take an 80-something-year-old woman who served in Congress all those years, and would you put her in jail? Or does she have the connections and the people that are either going to pardon her, exonerate her, not even prosecute her? But I think that's probably more likely. I think that when you get to the level of these people, I think you're pretty untouchable. I just don't see. May they have one sacrificial lamb? Will Schiff go to jail because they can prove he did? I hope so. I can't stand that guy. I think he should go to jail. He should rot in a cell. He should. He's such a liar. He's such a liar, in my opinion. But we have a multi-tiered justice system. Those that have a lot of money, I mean, if you ever want to see it, look at the reverse side of it. Look at the prosecution rate on African-American men in this country. Look who occupies most of our cells in our prisons. Young black men who become old black men and die in jail. And there's a business model behind it. There's a court system and lawyers that are getting paid, and products that are being made in skilled labor taught to young black men while they're in prison, so that white owners of prisons and the system and the businesses that lie outside of the prison can make money. So they get, just like they did when they brought African Americans here as slaves. Well, they supposedly gave them all their rights back. Now they incarcerate them, they put them in jail, and they're a labor force that's barely or not paid at all, and they get certain perks while they're in prison for doing this labor. It's the same exact thing. They just don't call it slavery anymore. But it is slavery. It's absolutely slavery. So look at the opposite end of that. Look at how the justice system is tilted against African American young men. And look at how the police react to African American young men. And look at how the legal system reacts to African American young men. I mean, it's so, the odds are so pinned against them, they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. And why? Because it pays for affluent white prison owners and business owners around the prison to have unpaid, skilled laborers, slaves, working for them. And this is part of the game. The same as the upper echelon. It's a different set of rules, but it's the exact opposite. We can't have the owners of those prisons going to jail. That would break up the chain of all the money that's being filtered illegally and legally, donations, all of it. Or just skimming right off the top that they pay politicians to run those. This goes on every day in our country. Are you not aware of that? Are you not aware of that? So no, I don't think any of these people are going to go to jail. I think if they prove them dead to rights, they're not going to go to jail. They're not. It's very sad, because the things that they've done are far worse than the things that a majority of these African American men, they were selling dope, they had bags of weed, and they get 20 years somewhere for a big bag of weed. Wow. I think scamming hundreds of millions of dollars out of the American taxpayers' pockets is far worse. It's economically far more damaging, but they're never going to see any time. They're never going to do the slave labor work that's done in prisons every single day around this country in every state. Every single state. Yeah, it's very eye-opening and very sad. I feel in preparation a little bit for this subject, for this show, the frustration that I have for the reality of it was disheartening. You know, it makes me want to go ahead and become a politician late in life, so I could just have maybe like one county here in Texas, or one place, or maybe affect what happens in one state, but certainly my own county. Maybe I should go and seek like a congressional seat. Maybe, could I straighten it out? Could I make it fair and equal and right? Well, I would love to be able to do that. I would love to be able to play a role in producing an area, a region, a town that plays it totally square. All right, now you can hear people walking behind me. I can hear them coming. Ready? I hear her. She's on a roll. She doesn't see it. She's got to turn the corner. Come on. Come on. I still hear the talk. Talk about their plans. They're going to stand there and talk. Yeah, should I wait? Can we cut this? We can cut this probably. No one's even going to see this. They're getting further away. Something happened. I discouraged them. So back to what I was saying, which is, could I affect a county? You know, we're looking at homes and thinking about possibly making a switch. And we're in Galveston today. It's nice here. The west end of Galveston is beautiful. Galveston's nice, but the idea of being by the sea and being in a place where I can teach my son things that I never thought I was going to have to know, and I know more than the average person, I think, about, you know, surviving. I could come off the grid and figure it out, provided especially if I was in a climate that was relatively warm. But fishing and in the garden and growing and storing those goods, defending myself and my family, these are all things that I think I'm relatively proficient. I mean, I'm not a Navy SEAL or anything, but I know quite a bit. And I want to teach him how to fix things and how to hunt and how to provide. During COVID, I lived in upstate New York. I was in Syracuse. And I mean, I talked to people. My wife was here in Atlanta and she said, yeah, no, it didn't get that bad. People were still going out. But where I was, it shut down. I mean, the giant superstore Walmarts were out of food, gone. My God. We got more. We got more incoming. There must be an elevator right here. Something. Sorry about that. Yeah, the giant Walmart near our house was closed. It had like no food left in it. It was pretty serious, the lockdown that went on in upstate New York due to COVID. So do I think that could ever happen again? I think they're planning on it. I think it made so much money. It was a great success. Let it cool off, and they're going to come out with another one in the next, probably while Trump's still president. They want to definitely have an effect on J.D. Vance's ability to become president and for the Republicans to stay in office. So what better thing to do? They proved. They threw COVID at Trump and said he lost the 2020 election. And it made too many billionaires and millionaires and pharmaceutical companies so much money. I think for sure they'll do it again. And I think it was absolutely planned. I do. I think we'll see one for sure in the next 3 years. Probably more like the next two and a half, right before the election again. We'll see that happen. It's sad, but we'll see that happen. I'm going to have myself in a place where I can be very self-sufficient if I need to, and that will be here in Texas, because what I found in my older age now is that it's important to migrate to like-minded people. It's important to migrate to like-minded people. And for me, people who believe and would protect and do the same things I would do. Quite a few of them are here in Texas. I lived in Texas once before. I was up just outside of San Antonio. Great people, had a cool place out in the foothills. But now I'm going to be by the water. And, I'm not as like-minded as my siblings and even some of my kids. I have differences in opinion of what to do about certain things with my wife, but I'm madly in love with my wife. I could never live without her. So whether we agree or not, we don't allow that to interfere with the greatest love affairs of our life, so we have to figure that out, because we can't be without each other. Now I have a little son, and she and I really work through. We're a team. We talk about things about the future. We talk about, what will it look like for Bat? Our son's name is Bat. And how will we do X, Y, or Z, or whatever it is? And we flush out. Sometimes we don't always agree, or we have to explain ourselves. And then we go back and we research. She tells me something and I sneak off, and I'm like, what does she mean by that? Because she's very smart. And she tells me things that I wasn't aware of. And then I look at them, I go, oh gosh, no, I didn't know that. And she tells me things in the eyes of an African-American woman, because those are two things I've never been and I never will be. And I don't see things from her life experiences, nor does she see things from my life experiences. So it's quite fascinating, the differences between us and how that has educated both of us for sure. So we got doors opening, we got stuff going. Man, doing the show, I should do a show called The Lobby Show, and just stop in different famous lobbies and do my show and see what happens. Crashing and smashing and all the different stuff that goes on. There's like some, one of those dance competitions going on for the kids. They're just, backflips in the middle of the hallway, and they're on fire here right now. So it's been a disruptive show. The original theme of this show, and again I branched off into other things, and that's okay. That's okay. My show is not a scripted show. It kind of just happens as I'm going. Sometimes I have it, some pages to refer to because I want to bring up examples. I want to read you something that's going on in the world right now. Not today's show. Today's show will be a shorter show. But it did catch my attention about I think the article was on Pelosi and her involvement in January 6th and the things that she ordered, like I said, doors to be opened and less guards to be, they knew what they were trying to do. They had agents that they paid to go in there and be disruptive and fire people up to attack the Capitol building. And yeah, it's really sad. And she won't be held accountable for any of it. It will, all of these people we're talking about, I think their legacy will be damaged. I think that you will not read when all the charges and evidence comes out about Schiff, about Schumer, about who was really getting money from Epstein, who of those people are in the Epstein files, how much money did Epstein send to their campaigns, how well did they actually know Epstein, but every one of them knew. Every one of them knew him. There's pictures of them with him having dinners. There's evidence of wire transfers going on for many of these congressional people from Epstein. Some of them could have even been on the island. I mean, again, as more and more, there's millions of documents, and the evidence comes, you will find out that the things that I said in the very beginning, in the very, very beginning, before it even broke. Epstein was a Mossad agent. He worked with multiple CIA-type governmental secret services. He blackmailed people by the things that were going on that island. Jeffrey Epstein is not dead. He didn't commit suicide on Rikers Island. He wasn't snuffed out, as some theorize. He's alive. He's alive. They snuck him out of there because of the shit he had on everybody, and still has, because of the services that he did for Netanyahu and Israel. And this guy's got himself in a position where he's untouchable. He is like a president. And he has presidents, multiple ones, by the balls, with videotapes of the shit they did on that island. Trust and believe me when I tell you. What's really frustrating is back in the day when I was younger, if you had any of this kind of evidence, you could destroy. Look at Hillary Clinton. Look at this woman right now. I feel sad for this woman. I really do. I don't know if she even understands what reality is, because she so easily tells lies while she's testifying in front of cameras. There's photographs of her at parties and at functions with Jeffrey Epstein and her husband. There's photographic evidence, not doctored, not AI, actual photographs of this woman. She obviously knows this guy well. They're grab-assing in the picture. But I don't know. Never met this guy. So really, all you have to go. Eddie Murphy did. I think the comedy tape was called Raw, and Eddie Murphy did a thing where the wife or the girlfriend walks in the apartment, opens up the bedroom door, and there he is, and he's doing it with some girl. And she, oh my God, Eddie! Oh, Jesus! And she runs out. And he sends the girl out. He puts his clothes on. He walks out. Baby, what's going on? Where you been? Well, Eddie, I can't believe it. Eddie, you did that. I can't believe you did this terrible thing, Eddie. Why did you? Baby, that wasn't me. It wasn't me. And he goes on in the skit the entire time, just saying it wasn't me. And after he says it enough times, the girl who just watched him fucking some other girl in their bed said, Eddie, but I could have sworn I saw you. And baby, it wasn't me. I just walked in the door. And he finally convinced her, and she's kissing on him, and he does this whole act about. It reminds me of that. It really does. If we listen to her, and you get the right media to show favorable-looking pictures and not having her look like she's 200 years old, or you go to Fox and they show her looking awful, they take the worst pictures they can. I've had this happen for me, where something was said about me or whatever, and they show a picture where I'm just turned to the wrong side, my double chin is sticking out, and I look like I'm 90. And yeah, they can do that. They can doctor the picture up to make you look worse. But it depends on what the agenda is. You see? It depends on what it is they're trying to sell in that article and in that picture. What story do they want to get you to believe? Hillary Clinton, there's photographic evidence and thousands of people that will testify that she's seen her and Bill with Jeffrey Epstein, that she's been to the island, all of it was me, baby. Baby, it wasn't me. She's Eddie Murphy. Hillary Clinton is Eddie Murphy. That's a great, quote me on that, please. Hillary Clinton is Eddie Murphy. Yeah. Yeah, she just has decided just to say, it wasn't me. It wasn't me, I don't know him. And that's it. That's her sworn testimony. Even though they can prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that she absolutely knew Jeffrey Epstein, that she was part of this game. It was me, baby. It wasn't me. Will Hillary Clinton go to jail? My God. If there's any of them, after all is said and done, that deserves to go to jail. And you know what? I don't think she's going to go to jail. I think they know enough people, they wield enough power, they have enough money that they'll get themselves out of it. And she won't do a single thing. Now, her reputation and what she meant to American politics and what Chelsea will wear for the rest of her life about her mother will be awful. I mean, I think she's going to be one of the ones that gets exposed the worst when all is said and done. You know, there's great footage of Bill Clinton with his lawyer while he's testifying, and he sees something that reminds him, you can see it in his face. He sees something that reminds him of something that was pictures of a bunch of people at play or whatever, and she takes it away from him because he's smiling. The lawyer pulls it away from him, and he pulls it back and goes, and he's really smiling, like he's totally recalling that weekend or that night or that hour. You can see it, he's wearing it in his face. He doesn't give a crap. He doesn't give a crap. He's like one of the big mafia scenes in Michael Corleone in The Godfather. He walks in, he goes, Senator, Senator. He knows he's not going in. He knows that no one's gonna, Pantangeli isn't gonna testify against him. They got his brother right behind him. Nothing's gonna happen. It's really heartbreaking to me. None of them are gonna do time. None of them are probably gonna get fined. Benghazi, and what happened there and what that was really about. We might get the information of missiles that were illegally sold and they covered it up and they had to let those guys die, because if they sent the troops in, they would have found the missiles there, and you would have realized that Hillary Clinton and some of her cronies were responsible for selling missiles illegally to another government, and the same missiles were used to kill American lives. That's the story I heard. Is that true? Maybe we'll find out, but will she do any time for it? No. So having term limits, Trump has talked about, you can't go for more than 10 years or whatever, however many years. Some of these people that have been in there for 30 years, there's footage of Schumer talking in New York about what he thinks about illegals and having a social security card and the privilege to have it. And this is what needs to be used before you can have any rights, a driver's license or this or that. And then that's in, 92, let's say, but it's in the early 90s. So 102, 112, 122, we're talking 34 years later. And Schumer's going, and Trump wants to pull the voting rights. Well, what happened in 92? What happened you have to have and be able to prove before you get benefits that you're an American citizen? You have to get online, you have to fill out the documentation, you have to do the process like anybody else who has immigrated to the US. Now suddenly they don't want that. Now suddenly Trump is, ruining our country and ruining, voters' rights and ruining no, he's not. All of those illegal aliens were allowed to come over the border because the Democrats knew that in close elections in 7 key states were being decided by very small numbers. So by flooding those markets with people that you have given the right to live in the US without having to go through the process and given them money and benefits and phones and health care, they were going to vote Democrat. And that would tip the scale in those counties and in those states and put Democrats in a position to win tight elections for another 50 years. Trump's not going to allow that. And all the things that these people supported, there's videotape of Bill Clinton, Schumer, Schiff, Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, all of them, Biden, all of them saying, you must, and illegal aliens, and they're all renouncing and they're all against it. And now, because they need it to keep their people in office in elections to come, they're willing to forego anything they said before and totally about-face reverse in judgment and opinion. You don't smell the scam in that? You don't smell getting elected 30 years, 20 years, and 10 years ago on one idea and then switching it over because now it works. Of course it is. Are any of them going to jail? No. They're even going to get elected again. So I say term limits would probably be good. Let's bring in fresh blood every 8 years, something like that, whatever the number is. But certainly, I don't want people that can't even remember what they said 30 years ago, like Schumer. Obviously, he has no clue what it is that he stood by and said that he supported. Now he's totally, those people that voted for him are probably the same people, still now. Don't they look at, don't you look at what your flip-flopping congressional leaders are saying? Don't you care that they're pieces of shit that don't care about anything but winning and staying in office so they can make grotesque amounts of money for them and their families and their friends? That's what this is about. So you need to figure it out there, really. You really do. I am going to go get my beautiful wife and my son, and we're going to run around this hotel We're going to go look at houses. And I'm going to take her to lunch and put my son to sleep for his nap and make out with my wife later, if you know what I mean. Let's pray. Lord God, Lord, I thank you for your protection and your guidance in my life every day. You are our Savior. You are Lord Jesus Christ. And we love you and we appreciate you, all the blessings that you bestow on us. So in your name today, God, I walk and try to reflect the light that you shine on me, that I may be a more godly man every single day. Amen. Praise God, everybody. I know it was a bit of a bumpy road, makeshift show. If you can hit like, if you can subscribe, if you can share the show, what a great blessing that would be for all of us, that we can get other like-minded people like you, like me, to talk about it, to share. I love the fact that you send in your questions. Some of them are crazy, some of them are funny. So many of them don't make the show. I should do a show where I just do the questions. Maybe I'll do that next week. Maybe I'll line up like 5 questions and just go through the questions. That'd be a good idea. Anyway, God bless you. I'm on the road. Take care.